What name is guy? Itauma. Moses Itauma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, 20 years, yeah?
And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge.
Why are you taking this fight? Because this kid is on fire right now, and he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards; he's going forward.
The fearsome nature of Moses Itauma in the ring is described by fighters. Tyson Fury commends the 20-year-old for his strength, discipline, and attention. He emphasizes how Moses learns quickly, listens well, and strikes with genuine force. It demonstrates his talent and confidence to take on someone like Dillian Whyte at such a young age. Many people think Moses is dangerous in addition to being promising, and he is already gaining the respect of the sport's greatest heavyweights.
That's a good fight, actually, especially for Moses. I think it's a very good time to fight Dillian. He's had a couple of years out the ring. But, make no mistakes, Dillian Whyte is a massive puncher. It's a head and body. I know he's taking it very serious. I'm speaking to Ty Mitchell, who's in training camp with him. And looking forward to the fight. It's a big step up for Moses because he hasn't really fought anybody on Dillian's level. The old Dillian, it was a couple of years ago. And it's going to be interesting to see how much that Dillian Whyte has left. And could this be potential? I think it does have the potential to do what Martin McCauley did to Jared Anderson. Maybe it's too early, or maybe he passes with flying colours. And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge. You tell him something, he absorbs it and he listens. And that's the great thing about the young kids who's coming up. And he's only 20 years old. I told him a few years ago, forget about breaking records, take your time, you've only got one career, and just enjoy it, because I remember when I was 19, 20, and now 36 has gone like that, very quick.
One of this generation's most technically proficient fighters, Alexander Usyk, was unreserved in his praise of Moses Itauma. Usyk highlighted Moses' strength and maturity in the ring in a recent interview, calling him a superb young fighter. This recognition is quite significant coming from a fighter like Usyk, who has faced and defeated the world's finest. Moses has a unique talent, as evidenced by the fact that at the age of 20, he was able to dazzle a player of Usyk's quality. Usyk's acknowledgement not only demonstrates Moses's unadulterated power, but also implies that he already possesses the poise and commitment of an experienced combatant.
What name is guy? Itauma. Moses Itauma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, 20 years, yeah?
20.
Yeah, 20 years. I think Itauma have big future.
The young heavyweight's interest in boxing history was one of the intriguing aspects of Moses Itauma that his coach discovered. Moses studies the greats that came before him, just like Mike Tyson. He does more than watch combat videos. He reads about their lives, their hardships, their methods, and the ways in which they left their mark. He differs from other new boxers who only concentrate on opponents from the present because of this mentality. Moses's desire to learn the history of boxing demonstrates how committed he is to become an expert in every aspect. He has a depth that most 20-year-olds in the sport lack because of his commitment with learning and developing both mentally and physically.
I think probably the biggest comparison I would say is how Mike Tyson loved the game, would always study fighters of the past, etc. Moses has that same love for it.
Does he?
Yeah, like we'll send him his sparring at 2 a.m. He'll be texting us clips like, is this more what you want?
He's a student.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. And that's that, along with his maturity at his age.
Very composed, isn't he? Very composed. Yeah.
That is what is allowing him to achieve what he's achieving at such a young age.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of talented fighters out there, but not many that
can execute it on the back of it, yeah.
It is hardly surprising that Moses Itauma is already being compared to a young Mike Tyson. Many people think Moses has a good chance of winning a world title before he reaches 21 because of his aggressive approach, compact power punches, and mature demeanor in the ring. Given how infrequently such young fighters encounter the best, this would be a great accomplishment. His confidence, quickness, and strength evoke memories of Tyson's early career when he was destroying opponents. Moses is unaffected and just concerned with establishing himself by performances rather than publicity, despite the fact that the pressure of such comparisons may be rather intense.
Is Moses Itauma being babied? Jared Anderson had better opposition in his first 12 fights than Moses Itauma. Guaranteed without a doubt. Guaranteed without a doubt. He had better opposition. But Jared gets criticized. And, you know, here we have a guy like Moses being called potentially the next Mike Tyson. They believe he can win a world title under 21 years old.
It didn't happen suddenly that Moses Itauma become this excellent. Observers noted his already high level of polish and technical soundness at the age of 18. He had accumulated experience from hundreds of amateur bouts, which helped him become a calm and strategic boxer. Long before he became a professional, his footwork, defense, and flawless combinations demonstrated that he was destined for the top level. His early commitment created a solid basis, and his present climb appears smooth because of this early preparation. Moses came into the working world already looking like he belonged, whilst others need years to get used to it.
So young, to be as athletic as he is, look as polished as he is. Bear in mind, I interviewed Moses Itauma before his pro debut, and one of the questions I really wanted to ask him was how many amateur fights he'd had. For someone who looked so polished, I was turning pro so young. Bear in mind, he'd only just turned 18 at the time. Right, this is 2 years ago, nearly 3 years ago now. I really wanted to know how many amateur fights he had to look as polished as he did. And in that interview, he told me it was something like 22, 23 amateur fights, which is really, it's quite a low amount. It was a bit of a kind of land when he said it. I remember at the time thinking, huh? And then obviously you're interviewing, so you want to try and get the next question. You don't want to be just stopped in your tracks, but it genuinely nearly did stop me in my tracks. Given how polished he looked and how good he looked, you know, I was thinking, yikes, that's actually a bit of a strange one for someone to look that polished in such short of a time. And he's obviously been fighting good amateurs, and obviously he's not one of these amateurs like Anthony Yard, no offense, who had 10 amateur fight against low level, probably wasn't doing a great deal of sparring, but just had that natural ability. Alright, just had it.
Derek K. Sura, a seasoned heavyweight, questioned Dillian Whyte's reasoning for accepting the fight with Moses Itauma. Dillian hasn't been active lately, he said, but Moses has been getting better and better with each camp. Moses is only 20 years old, yet he is already making progress and honing his craft every day. Moses' age shouldn't mislead anyone since his strength, style, and hunger give him a huge edge, Kozora said, referring to Dillian's comeback after a layoff. He wasn't only worried about Dillian's preparedness. It dealt with how deadly Moses had subtly turned into. The threat is genuine when experienced boxers exercise prudence.
I had a phone call a couple of weeks ago. They offered me to fight Moses Itauma in Saudi. You know, I said, how much? He said, 2 million. I said, nah, I'm out. I even phoned Dylan, like, Dylan, I don't know why you're taking this fight, you know, because this kid is on fire right now. And he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards, he's going forward.
One of the reasons he is taking it is that Moses is WBO #1 at the moment, so that there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel for Dillian taking that fight.
Ain't no light at that tunnel.
I agree with you. I think I don't think Dillian gets beyond 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah. You're crazy. Yeah. There's no light at that tunnel. That kid is, no, you mad. No way. Even Lawrence Okoli said Moses is bad.
The boxing community is split as Moses Itauma and Dillian Whyte's bout negotiations intensify. While some warn that Dillian is taking things too far at this young age, others think Moses is now the finest young heavyweight in the world. Moses does not yet have Dillian's experience and exposure to elite opponents. But Moses has the advantages of youth, quickness, and acute talent. For each, the contest is seen as the ultimate test. Dillian sees it as an opportunity to put an end to the excitement. Moses sees it as a fantastic chance to demonstrate his ability to swim with the sharks.
Can he still use them? It's a common opinion that Moses is a great prospect. He's got all the talent in the world, but as a professional, he's untested. I think Dillian sees this as a perfect opportunity to shut the hype train on Itauma, beat this young prospect who everyone's shouting about and get the light back on him. But the problem is, if he loses, He's got nowhere to go. It's game over. But this is boxing. High risk, high reward, or scrambling at the bottom of the heap. We know that Moses wanted to beat Mike Tyson's record in becoming the youngest heavyweight champion of the world, but he's missed that now. So we know he wants to move fast and test himself. He's reaching for greatness, but as the saying goes, you can't put an old head on young shoulders. So maybe he's biting off more than he can chew. From his point of view, beating a veteran like Dillian Whyte will give him credibility. You know, put him in the mix with the top guys. I'm definitely a fan of Moses. He's got the skill, the talent, the work ethic, and the mindset. The only thing he lacks is experience. And I suppose the only way to get it is to fight these guys. In the fight business, you've got to have thick skin because there's always going to be doubters. It's part of the game. Personally, I don't see the rush. There's so many good fights, even at domestic level. He's only 20. I just feel he's got time on his side. He needs time to mature. Heavyweights don't mature till late 20s. I just see so much value going the traditional route. English, British, Commonwealth, European, then world honours. In my opinion, it's so important. That's your apprenticeship. Gradually learning the game, gaining experience, and each time you pass the test, you step up. This type of progression builds the foundations. There's a reason why the greats.
Boxing analyst Spencer Oliver believes fans have only seen a glimpse of Moses Itauma's true potential. With Dillian Whyte now lined up as a possible opponent, Oliver says this will be Itauma's biggest test yet. Facing an experienced and powerful fighter like Whyte will show how complete Itauma really is. Oliver thinks Itauma has the tools to succeed, but this fight will push him in new ways. Taking on Whyte isn't just a risk, it's a major opportunity. While most boxers build their records gradually, Itauma is aiming to fast-track his rise. Fans are already backing him, eager to see him take on Whyte and earn recognition at the world level. Win or lose, Oliver believes this fight will give Itauma a kind of experience no training camp can replicate. It's a defining moment that could accelerate his journey to the top or teach him vital lessons for the future.
Oh, it's a massive step up, but every time the kid steps up, look, we're talking about someone here who I believe is a super talent, not if he wins a world heavyweight title, but when he wins a world heavyweight title. And fortunately for Moses Itauma, he has the right man behind him in Frank Warren, because he knows how to guide the careers and take the right fights at the right time. And they feel that this is the right timing now for Dillian Whyte, who's not looked particularly good in his last couple of fights, but we know that he's heavy-handed and we know that he'll come and give it everything, because he knows it's last chance saloon for him. He needs the victory here. So, look, we find out just how good Moses Itauma is, I think, on the 16th of August when he boxes Dillian Whyte, because I think he wins it and wins it in style. But everyone they put in front of him so far, he's just dismantled. I think this kid's going to go on and win a world title, and it could be as soon as 12 months.
Moses Itauma will face Dillian Whyte in Saudi Arabia on the 16th of August. Now, I must say this, guys, I am pleasantly surprised about this. I did not expect this fight to happen right now. Now, when Dillian Whyte pulled out of the Ipswich card, I was thinking maybe he's going to fight someone like Joseph Parker or Lawrence Okoli, because they've had some beef going on. And then with Moses Itauma, after his last fight where he destroyed Mike Balogun, I thought that, you know, he needed some learning fights. He needed fights where people or his opponent is going to give him something to think about. But I did not expect that to be Dillian Whyte. And I'm going to say here first, Moses Itauma is absolutely going to destroy Dillian Whyte.
I think this was Christmas Eve or something like that. At the time, I didn't have my running shoes. I wore my uncle's trainers, and I didn't really have no running clothes, and I wore his work clothes. Yeah, it's quite hard because it's also like 1,000 meter altitude, which makes it even harder with the snow, the altitude. And I actually slipped on this run as well because it's icy.
It's very honest of you to say. And what temperature would you say this was?
I think it was like -15.